Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure and my honor to be here with you on this momentous occasion. So I want to begin with a phrase that I imagine most of you have heard probably many times. You are powerful beyond measure. How many of you have heard that? I know I have heard it hundreds of times. And yet, how many of you have really, in the depths of your being, believed it? Believed that deep down, the things that you do in your life, the actions that you take, can have ripples that not only impact your family and your community, but ripples that could actually spread through the entire country that you live in, or perhaps even impact our globe. I know that while I've given lip service myself to this idea that yes, I'm powerful beyond measure, deep down inside, I never really believed it. I didn't believe that I could have the kind of impact that I now know is possible. And so I want to tell you a little story that just happened to me last week. I was in a conversation with Jean Houston, who is one of the speakers that'll be presenting on our Women's Empowerment stage. And as she and I and my co-host Sabrina Cha were all talking, Jean said to me in this wonderful Jean Houston way, "So, Devaa, what is your role in all of this?" And I went on to explain to Jean that I felt like my role was really, as part of Shift Network, to help provide a platform and to really amplify the voices of those people who are making big change, who have a message that needs to be heard. And Jean Houston then looked at me across space and time. We were doing a video conference. She looked at me with those powerful Jean Houston eyes and her big booming voice, and she said, "My dear, I think you vastly underestimate yourself." And I was a little taken aback. I thought, what does she mean? I feel like I'm someone who's somewhat self-confident and, am doing my things to impact the world, but I sat with what she said in that moment and over the next few days, and I realized that she was right, that I myself have been playing small, and that I didn't really believe that I could have big, meaningful, lasting impact on our world. And maybe it's the same for you too. And I started thinking about, why is this the case? And I think it's the case for so many women. And I was being reflected just today in a conversation with, again, my co-MC, Sabrina Cha, and Sabrina was saying to me, Devaa, people really see you as a leader. You're a co-founder of this company, one of the largest companies in the consciousness space. You're someone that leads a big women's summit. You've got a couple albums out. And then when I reflect on my own history, it's true, I do have a certain pedigree. I came from a couple degrees at Stanford, and I worked at a prestigious consulting firm, and I was a Fulbright scholar. I'm a doctorate. And even so, even with this resume that kind of looks the part of being a world changer, why is it that I didn't really feel it? And why do so many other women not really feel it at the deepest level inside? And as I started reflecting about this, I realized that there's a book I read a few years ago that really had some important information to share. It's called The Confidence Code, written by Katie Kay and Claire Shipman. They're two women who are both news anchor women. One is from, I believe, the BBC, and the other from Good Morning America. And they did interviews with many women that they perceived to be powerful women, and they found that so many of these women themselves, when you ask them how did they get into the positions of power that they now hold, so many of them said that they felt like it was sort of an accident, that they were in the right place or at the right time. They weren't really claiming the agency that they have and the potency of who they are and the impact that they're making. They all were sort of shrugging it off in one way or another. So there seems to be this common thread where women don't fully claim or believe that we have the power or own the power that we do have. When I think about this from my own lens of the archetypal feminine work There's an archetype that's called the Great Mother. And I have a whole course that really describes the Great Mother and the mother wound, but how it plays out in my life and in so many women's lives is this core sense that we are not enough somehow. For me, it's played out in the past as not feeling good enough. And other women feel it as not being smart enough, or not being old enough, or young enough, or pretty enough, or thin enough, or something, some way that we're fundamentally flawed. So I think there's this archetypal piece which gets passed down from generation to generation that we all need to navigate. But then there's another piece that the book, The Confidence Code, speaks about, where women don't fully feel our self-worth or our confidence because we are not as resilient as we could be. We have something that happens and we fall down in life and it's not as easy for us to get back up. Or for some of us, it's a sense of perfectionism. I know that's definitely true in my own life. And what is the remedy for this? They said the remedy is really action, that you take action even when you feel a sense of self-doubt, even when you feel afraid. And through taking that action, you actually rewire your own circuits to be more self-confident, to have more self-worth. And I think from my lens, I would say also doing some of the inner work, healing the mother wound, and really claiming this core sense of potency, of agency, of perfection that we all have, no matter what our background, no matter if you have a background that looks more like mine or something that looks completely different, we all have the ability to make tremendous change. And as I reflected on this recently, I have been so inspired by the example of a young woman who is the youngest congresswoman to serve in the United States. Her name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC as she's known. And I'm imagining many of you are familiar with her. But what really inspires me about her is just a few weeks before she ended up taking office as a U.S. Congresswoman, she was waiting tables and working at a bar. And she herself felt that she didn't really have what it took to run for office. She felt like she needed more influence, power, clout of some sort. But she went to Standing Rock and she saw so many people putting their lives on the line for what they believed in that it gave her the inner strength to say, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to just go for it anyway. And now the ripples that she is making are echoing out through space and time. And she, like you, like me, knows now that she can really deeply impact the planet. So this is what I would say for all of us. We need to bust through this inner glass ceiling. We all know about the glass ceiling that our society has created that shows up a lot in the workplace. And luckily, that exterior glass ceiling is starting to fall down, and we're all starting to break through that glass ceiling. But there's this internal glass ceiling that many of us can't see, but is right in front of our faces. And it's living inside each of us. And so we need to go through a systemic process of dismantling this internalized glass ceiling so we can fully own, claim, feel our power and our agency. So the first step is really standing and claiming our place. So I want to invite you, wherever you are, to get up out of your seat and to call yourself to center and to invite in any support, allies, guides. And I want to invite you, along with me, to make a declaration, and from this point forward, to live your life differently. So I'm going to say these words, and I invite you to repeat after me. I am a world changer. I am a world changer. And now, final time, make it big, scream it out. I am a world changer. And from this place in consciousness, I know that we will each make huge, powerful, lasting change on our planet. May it be so. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for playing your sacred role.